Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Adventures of FoxFoil. For the last few days, I've been thinking about how I can populate this city with villagers, and I have an idea which will be pretty interesting and maybe a little bit out there. I also think today will be a great day to add a few more residential buildings around the iron farm that we built last time, because this area right here is just the perfect place to add some buildings that are similar to the ones that we did over there. But before we get to that, I want to show you a couple of changes that I made to the iron farm that we built last time. So the first thing that I did was based on a comment that I received in the video that said that soul campfires will do more damage. So I replaced the regular campfires with the soul campfires. And then the other thing that I did was add a level of lava right here. So again, we'll be doing more damage to the iron golems, and that way they will be converted to iron ingots faster. But with those changes, I think this iron farm is ready to go. So now let's turn our focus to figuring out how we can get villagers to populate this city. And I think the best place to start with that is with this area right over here where we have the marketplace. And I think this is a good spot to do that because over here we have lots of different things that will serve as workstations for the villagers to keep them focused on this area, like these barrels over here, grindstones over here, and the lecterns over in this stall. And while we're working on getting the villagers added in, I also want to build something down the middle of this road, which I think will add just a little more interest to this area and may have a secret purpose as well. So let's start building this feature down the middle. And I've got a few blocks here that I think will be helpful for what we are going to do in this build, but I don't have an exact idea of what we're going to be doing with it, so we're going to work it out together. The idea for this project is to have a pool of water that is going to go down the center of the road, and then we are going to add some features and details to it, like plants and maybe some fountains along the way. The first question that we need to work out is how we want the border to look, whether it's going to be flush with the road or raised up, and I think I like the raised up better. The flush with the road is going to look better in more modern builds, but I think for the style we have here, this is the way we're going to go. Yeah, I think that works out really well, and these roads are so wide, there's plenty of room to put things in the middle of them. Now, the next thing that we need to work out is what to make the floor out of, and the reason I'm over here in the water is I want to see whether we can put drip leaves. No, we can't put them on polished blackstone. That probably means we can't put it on deep slate tiles. What about skull? Can we do that? No, we can't do that either. All right, that's going to limit what we can do. Let's try some other. Now, can we do this on mud? Yes. Okay, that makes sense that we'd be able to do that. All right, we can work with that. So we just got to dig out this stone and we can replace it with the mud. We are right up against the ceiling for the storage room. Definitely can't make this any lower. Now it's time to start adding some things to this pool. Obviously, it's missing the water, but the first thing that we are going to add are some fountains, and I think I want to have them line up so that they are right in line with the center of this fixture up here, which would be this spot right here. And let's start by placing in some frog lamps. Then let's see if we place some trapdoors around that. We should have a nice little design. That'll be good. Then let's place some polished deep slate on top of that. And maybe do one more and then a nether brick wall. Let's get that right there. And let's see. Okay, we may need to do a little bit more with that. What if we add a warp fence to the top? Nope, that's not the top. There we go. Just break this real quick and step back. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, I think this needs to be a little bit taller. It's just not quite where I want it to be at. I think that's going to work. The water is going to start right here and then flow down. So I think that's a good spot. All right, let's get the rest in. Now that we have the base of the fountains in place, we can start adding in the water, which is a pretty easy process. We just gotta go along here, create infinite sources of water all the way down, which goes pretty quickly. Let's just keep going. Oh boy, this is long. This next part could get a little tricky because if we try to place water, we just waterlog the stairs and it goes out on the other side. Oh, how could I do this? I mean, around the fountain, it's pretty easy to put it in because we can just place it up against these blocks. Maybe that's what I'll have to do. I place the block here, put some water there, just like that, and then go around on the other side. That may be what I have to do. Every other one. The pool is now all filled in, and now let's see how the fountains are going to work. Yeah, I think that works out pretty well. Let's get the other ones done. So now let's see about adding in some plants. So let's have some lilies dotted around. I think that will be pretty nice. And then we can do some small drip leaves. Let's see, put some there. Maybe I put a few over here. And we should probably add in some large drip leaves as well. The last thing that we can do to just make this pop a little bit more is add in some flowers, which we can do by putting in some trapdoors and coral fans along the top. And we now have a nice little fountain in the middle of the road, and I think it adds some nice color to this area as well. There is one more feature that needs to still be added, but before we can add it, we need to get the villager breeder set up so that way we can have plenty of villagers for this area. What we are going to do is build the villager breeder underneath where we have our storage room, and the way we are going to get down to it is we are going to go down through this pillar right here. So we can get this set up where we got a roof, we've got a staircase, and everything will lead down to where the villagers are. So I've dug down about 10 blocks and did a little bit more digging. This is where we are going to do the villager breeder. This area will be a bunch of farmland. We'll have some beds over here, and then the villagers are going to drop down into this channel right here. And if this looks familiar, this is one that I've built several times before, and it's based on a design by Romer GFX, and there is a link in the description down below if you want to find out how to build it. Before we get the villagers that are going to go in here, we need to do a few more things. So let's get some beds placed over on this side, and we have to make sure that we have them facing in this direction with the pillows at this side. And then the next thing that we need to do is go 4 blocks in from right here, dig a little hole, and this is where we are going to put in some water. Let's see, I should have some water buckets. There we are. Be able to put into here. Then on top of the water, we are going to place a couple of composters, and on top of those, we are going to add some frog lights, just to make sure there is plenty of light in this room. Then we need to turn the grass into farmland and plant some carrots. So now let's go get a couple of villagers. When we were building the iron farm, we had 2 villagers left over, and they are in this container right here. We are going to use these 2 to get our villager breeder going. With almost 5 stacks of tracks, we ended up so close to where we need to be. It's just this one right here. Oh well, I've crafted up a few more rails, and hopefully this will be enough to reach our destination. And it was. So now what we have here is the rail is going to go all the way over to here, and then the mine carts with the villagers will drop down into the water down there. And I put the water because I can't remember whether or not villagers will take any damage. So just in case, they will land in the water. Now let's see if we can get these villagers into the minecart and send them on their way. This guy went in pretty easily. And there we go. He's going along the track. Let's just head over and see him as he makes his way. There he is. Come on, dude. You can do it. Zipping right along. And we are almost there. Let's just get this guy over here. A few more turns. And he is through. All right. Now, let's see. He seems to have survived just fine. I think... Oh, let me see. Do I have my bucket? Yep. I'll pick up the water just so that we can get him out of the minecart. And then he should head into where we need him to be. There we go. 1 villager in. And villager number 2 is down here as well. So we'll just break the minecart. And he should head right in as well. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Let's go. There we are. Our 2 villagers are in here, and they are both now farmers. We should start to see some baby villagers populate this area. So now we need to work out the transportation of the villagers from the villager breeder here all the way around down this corner and then over to here. And then this is where we are going to have a bubble column to send the villagers up. If I did the measurements correctly, we should be able to place a water bucket here and have the water go all the way down to where these signs are. We are then going to place a water bucket here. Let me just put another torch there. That should go all the way down to these signs. And then if we put a water bucket here, the water should end up right there. Perfect. So now if we dig down through this block here, we should end up where the water system stops. And let's just see. Oh dear, we are 1 block off. And I mean, at least we've got a baby villager. That's a good start. But we needed that to be over here. So I think this new way of doing it will be actually better, because what we are going to do is have the baby villagers end up right here. And then we are going to put a water source block right here. And what that's going to do is allow the villagers to grow up. And then once they grow up, they will pop up into here and then be carried over to where we are going to have the bubble column. So we've just about got this tube all ready to go to put in the water to create the bubble column. And the reason why we are doing all of this is so that we can send the villagers from down here all the way up through the pillar until it reaches the top. And then once it gets up to the top, we have this little tube here, which is going to send the villagers to this middle area. And we're going to have an opening here, which will allow the villagers to drop down into the pool of water, and then they can get into the marketplace. And the end result will be villagers raining down from up here into the marketplace. And as they get spread out, if anything happens to them, the villager breeder will constantly be running to allow the villagers to be repopulated. That way I don't have to worry about putting up any barriers or anything to keep them contained within this spot. So we do have a little bit of a problem in that our villagers did not end up going up. This guy is right here, which is not much of an issue because we can just let him out. If he will just let me get this door out of the way, there we go. He will head out and go find a workstation. But I think that means I need to do something here to make sure that the villagers are not going to leave this. I wonder if I could just do every other one so that it's not a completely enclosed area. Maybe. Let's see. Oh, and we've got this guy stuck here too. Let's see. Do I have a sign? Oh, I've got an extra sign here. We need to break this block and then place a sign there. Oh no. Oh no. This is bad. Okay. Oh, that could have been really bad. Just go in there. Come on. There we go. And that guy now has a workstation. Perfect. Oh, what are you doing here? Oh, I thought the glass panes would work. All right. I'm going to have to come up with a different solution. Oh no. It looks like they're multiplying. I went down to get some more blocks to be able to try something out, and now we have 2 here. Oh dear. All right. I think what we're going to try to do is replace the panes with blocks. So let's see if I can do this without creating too much of a mess. I wonder if we do these in alternating ones, if that will be enough to keep them in. Maybe. So I wanted to be able to see the villagers as they're traveling up. So I want to keep it open. Let's see if we can just break this, and we will just have the whole blocks spiral up. So even though we are going to be using full blocks, I think we'll go ahead and put in glass as well. So we'll have alternating deep slate tiles and glass. That way we can still see the villagers as they travel up. So it's a little bit more substantial than what I was initially planning, but I think it's still going to work. We'll be able to see the villagers as they travel up, and they won't get stuck anymore. Now, I did just have an idea, because while it is kind of interesting to have villagers be dripping out one by one from the top here, it would be really funny if we had a whole bunch come out all at once. And maybe with a little redstone help, we could get that to happen. Plus, I think if we do this, it will help solve this problem where sometimes the villagers get stuck right here. All right, so I think step number 1 is that we are going to place a sticky piston right here, and then we are going to place another block on top. Let's put a wood block right there, and then we will have the ice go all the way over here. Next, we're going to need to power that piston, so let's grab a target block. We'll put that right here. We're going to have some redstone dust coming out of there, and we're going to connect that up to something to be able to get it turned on. Now we need to go up here and fix the rest of this area. So we now have everything in place, and what's going to happen is the villagers are going to come up, they're going to get pushed along to over here, and then all of the villagers are going to be crowded into this space here. When we are ready, we are going to activate the piston, which will push up the villagers into this water, which will then send them across and down. Now, to power the piston, we have this redstone line, and I think what we can do is we'll take it over here, and to this pillar, we could drop down and have a redstone torch pillar coming up from the ceiling right here. And we now have that built, which we can test out by breaking this torch here. So you can see that would be when the lever is turned on, it would activate the piston. And then when the power is turned off, it will deactivate the piston. Having these hollow pillars has come in super handy. So now all we will need to do if we want to have a bunch of villagers come out will be to turn on this lever here, and that will activate the piston, and the villagers will go through the water system and start dropping down. So now I just need to wait for a little bit to allow the villagers to build up, and then we can see it in action. So we now have 7 villagers all loaded up and ready to go. I went ahead and changed where the piston is at, because if I had left the piston there, they were still going to be going out. So this way they are all ready to go. We now just need to head down and we can see them and whether our machine is going to actually work. All right, let's flip the lever and head out. Let's see. Are we going to get a bunch of villagers coming down? All right, let's give them a little bit of time. There we are. Let's see. Come on. You can do it. Please. Let's see. Does not look good. So the issue was I was missing a torch right on top of this block. So that has now been fixed. Let's see if this is going to work now. All right. Moment of truth. Come on, villagers. Please come down. Oh, I want this to work so bad. Okay. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Oh, here we are. There's one. All right. That's what I want to see. Let's go. You can do it. Another problem. I had this block here. Okay, let's just break that block. And now if we come down here, there we are. It's raining villagers. Exactly what I wanted. Oh, this is perfect. Look at all those guys. After having so many problems, we finally fixed it and it's good to go. And look at all of these villagers. We have a nice bustling little marketplace. I'm so happy about this. It worked out perfectly. But now that we have the villagers raining down from above, the next thing that we need to do is start building some of these residential builds over on this side. And maybe we will do one over here as well. Originally, I was going to have a building here, but I just didn't get to it when I was building the other ones. Now might be the perfect time to get it built. Although I think making this two buildings squished together makes more sense. And then over on this side, I think we're going to have more of a square building right here. And then as we come up to this angle on the road, this build is also going to need to be on an angle, which could make for some pretty interesting designs, or some more challenging ones at the very least. So maybe something like this, where we have a large square one here, we have sort of a smaller rectangle here, and then we have a diagonal one. And maybe we'll push it back so that it extends more over here, but we'll just have to see once we get started with the building. If we take a look at the buildings that we've already finished, you can see that they use a lot of deep slate and a lot of the cyan terracotta. So let's see how much we have in our storage for these. And we may introduce some other types of blocks as accents just to mix it up a little bit from the ones that we've already done. So let's see how we're doing on the deep slate. It looks like even after all of the blocks that we used on the iron farm, there is still plenty for what we need today. But I'm a little bit more worried about our terracotta levels because this is all we have. And yeah, there's no other terracotta here. We may have to go out and get some more. So I now have 6 shulker boxes worth of terracotta, which should be a pretty good amount to get us started. And I've also installed a data pack to allow universal dyeing, so I can turn this terracotta into whatever color I want it to be. So I've finished gathering up all of the blocks that we are going to be using for today, and they are mostly the same as the blocks that we've used over there. So we've got the deep slate, we've got the andesite, we have the terracotta over here, as well as some of the cyan colors and bone blocks. But I also thought we should introduce some changes. So over here, we had used nether bricks for the ceilings, or actually for the roofs, and I thought dark prismarine would be a nice complement to that. So we have some of those blocks here. And I also thought that with the andesite that we've used here, it might be nice to mix in some of the polished tough blocks that were introduced in 1.20. But now that we have everything gathered up, we can start building. And I think we should start with the builds over on this side. And I've been looking at what we've already done, and with this one here, it's very tall. I mean, it's the 5 stories, it's the biggest one that we built, and I think these ones should be just a little bit smaller to balance them out. So I think for this one, we'll make this 3 stories, and I think this one right here will just be a 2-story build. And since it's been a little while since we've done these builds, we're going to do a walkthrough on the first one, just to get a refresher on the design elements, and then for the rest, we'll do a time lapse. Let's get started. So I've measured out the building to make sure we get the portions correctly, and now we can start building up the corners. And I think for the corners, these are going to be mostly deep slate tiles and deep slate bricks, and then we are going to fill in the spaces with the terracotta and the gray concrete powder and gray wool combination. And I think that this combination of the gray wool, the gray concrete powder, and the cyan terracotta just goes so well together. Now that the walls are built, the next thing to do is add some color. And for this build, it's going to be cyan. And then to hide the sharp line between the main building blocks and the accent, we are going to use some slabs. So we have the polished deep slate and the polished andesite, which we're going to run along here. And then it's time to start on the next level. And for this one, we are going to actually have it go in here and meet up with this side over here. So that way we have a little cutout here and a roof just to break up the otherwise square shape of this build. Because if it was all one square, it would get a little bit boring. Once we have the walls all finished up, the next thing that we need to do is start adding in the details for the windows. And I think for these ones, we are going to use some andesite slabs, and then we are going to use the honeycomb blocks behind it, just like what we did in the other buildings over here. Let's see. There you go. You can see the honeycomb blocks right up there. Now, in some of the other buildings, we had used the polished andesite stairs in the windows, and I think over here, if I had done that, we would have only had a 1 block tall window, which would have been really small. So I think the polished andesite slabs will be much better. But the one spot where we will use the polished andesite stair is where the door is going to go, and that will be right here. On the second floor, we have this 2x3 window, and I think what we are going to do here is put some stairs in the corners, and then in the middle, we are going to place some slabs. So we will have a nice border around this window. We're not going to do much for the interior, but we are going to have for the floors some spruce slabs and torches, because we don't want this to have a bunch of mobs in it. And for the roof, we are going to start mixing in the dark prismarine. But we're not going to have the roof be just dark prismarine. We're going to mix in some polished tuff as well. And we've now ended up with a nice little house. I still need to add in a little bit of a raised porch here so that it's easy to get in through the door. But before I do that, I want to get this building done. That way we can kind of see what we're working with in this area here. But now that we've covered the refresher on these builds, we can start the time lapse for the rest. With the addition of these 4 houses, this area is really starting to come together. On the ones over here, I decided to mix things up a little bit and try to make them not be quite so boxy as this one over here. And on this one, I really tried to make some differences in both the elevation of them. So this one is just 2 stories. This one is 4 stories, and then we have the tower in the back. And from this side, you can really see how having the little sides and parts stick out and the tower in the middle, it really adds a lot more character than if it was just one big box. But while we've been working on these buildings, I've also been checking on the villagers up here, and they've really started to pile up. So I think we should add them into the marketplace to finish off the episode, and there should be a ton added in. So let's see, they should start to drop down here. Oh, there we go. Here they go. Wow. There are so many. This is great. Oh boy, we've got quite the pile up down here. How many are there? There's got to be a ton of them that are going to be landing here. And look at all of these villagers. They are going to be so happy here, and this area is now going to be very populated. At least until some zombies or pillagers come through. But I think that is where we are going to leave it for today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, see ya later.